Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So I apologize. I'm a little late with this update, but John Lolos, I believe is how you pronounce his name, was sentenced for his participation in the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. Lolos is a resident of Washington State. You guys will probably remember this guy for a couple reasons. First of all, he's the guy who looks like he hasn't slept in like 10 years. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. He had the most dark circles around his eyes that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm talking like Uncle Fester level dark circles. So, but beyond that, he was kicked off of a flight. You would definitely remember this. He kept yelling Trump 2020 on a flight on January 8th. So Delta Airlines actually turned the plane around, flew back to the airport, and they kicked him off of the plane. And then as he was waiting for another flight, because they actually booked him another flight. Why, I don't know, but they booked him another flight. While he was waiting, he was spotted and identified by one of the airport security officers. They just happened to be scrolling through, I think it was Instagram, and saw a video of him coming out of the Capitol. So they contacted the Capitol Police. They arrived. They took Lolos into custody. But this guy was another one of these low-level offenders. He was one of the many who just walked around the Capitol for a while. He didn't vandalize anything. He didn't get violent. He did, however, enter the Capitol through a broken window. And his intentions for doing so were very clear because he was seen and heard on video when he exited the Capitol. He was yelling, quote, "They left, we did it." So Lolos was charged with the 4 basic misdemeanors: entering restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, parading or demonstrating in a Capitol building. He decided to take a plea. He decided to plead guilty to that last count of parading in the Capitol, which comes with a maximum sentence of up to 6 months in prison and then some fines. Prosecutors, however, were asking for 1 month in prison. They wanted him in jail for at least 30 days. So Lolos had his sentencing hearing last month. It was with Judge Amit Mehta, I believe is how you pronounce the name. Lolos seemed to incense the judge during this hearing. He apparently rambled on for like 20 minutes. He basically denied any wrongdoing. He repeated his election fraud conspiracies. He complained about the media ruining his life. He told the judge that he believed that he was allowed inside the Capitol and that he only went in to, quote, talk to the police officers. And then Lolos even claimed that one of the officers actually signaled for him and invited him into the building. But then he also tried to minimize how he got into the building. He said, quote, "I see a window. It's broken. People are going inside. Yeah, I went inside, but Your Honor, I didn't break the window to rob the place." So, I mean, is he claiming the cop encouraged him to climb through the window to enter the building through a broken window? Get your story straight, guy. Either the cop summoned you and you did nothing wrong, or you climbed through a broken window, which means that someone broke in. So anyway, on top of all that, he now claims that he didn't mean to say they left, we did it. They meaning Congress, obviously. Lolos is now alleging that what he really meant to say and what he told the judge was, we left, we did it. What? I mean, what would that even mean? We left. It doesn't mean anything. Why would you be yelling to people, we left? Okay. Anyway, these people are such horrible liars. Thank God. And Lolos, he wouldn't even take responsibility for what he did afterwards. He wouldn't take responsibility for what he did on the flight. He told Judge Mehta that everyone on the plane was chanting 2020, not Trump 2020, but 2020, which again makes no sense. And so he said, well, I don't understand why I was the only one kicked off. But Lolos then goes on to say that he thought that he was the one that was targeted because there was this person that he saw at the airport who he suspected of being an undercover officer. And he said that, this person had told him that he was being too loud. So, and then for no apparent reason, Lolos pointed out that this person, quote, displayed traits stereotypical of a homosexual. Anyway, Lolos pleaded for leniency. He told the judge that he had been deterred enough, that was a direct quote, because his business apparently had suffered due to his arrest. And he asked the judge not to pour salt in the wound. But Judge Mehta wasn't buying any of this BS. He told Lolos that he didn't believe his story. And he said, quote, I will say that I'm disappointed to hear a lot of what you had to say today. It still sounds like you believe what happened that day was not that big of a deal, and that's just wrong. He also told Lolos that he believed that he was impressionable and that he was used by powerful people. He said to Lolos, quote, in a sense, Mr. Lolos, you were a pawn in a game directed by and played by people who should know better. Unfortunately, this judge, like so many others, has been just far too lenient with these insurrectionists and these domestic terrorists. So he didn't even give Lolos the full 30 days that the prosecutors were asking for. Instead, Judge Mehta sentenced him to only 14 days in jail and a $500 restitution fee. So there you go. Again, I say when, not if, but when this happens again, it's going to be the fault of all of these judges, all of these soft judges, or these weak and perhaps MAGA sympathizing prosecutors. It's going to be on their heads. We will know who to blame because this isn't going to stop anybody. 2 weeks in jail isn't going to stop anybody. All right, guys, I'll let you know if I hear any more. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.